It's the weekend, it's Mailbag. I am joined this week by Ed, Matt, and in a change from the advertised participants, Paul is replacing Dave, which is, it's no bad thing, it's a great thing. It's like having two like subs who are both very good. It's not the James Rodriguez, Tom Davis sub. It's not that. It's the opposite of that. So
I'll take that.
There we go. Right, we'll get straight into the questions, lads, because we've got loads. First one is from last week, actually. Adam Jones asked, do you all reckon if you showed a picture of Super Mario to the Queen a couple of years before she died, she'd have known who it was? Ed, as the gamer, I'll come to you first.
Well, I'll use my expert opinion on this one then. I think she would. Mario is an institution. He was around for decades. So I'm sure that I reckon she maybe had like a Switch or something. She did a bit of sneaky gaming in the background.
Do you reckon she would have gone full retro and goes, that jump, man? That's who that is, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
Have you seen?
No, I think she knew the back catalogue. She knew that Galaxy 2 was the one.
Galaxy, do you know what? Have you seen the film?
I haven't seen the film, no.
It's amazing. It covers pretty much everything, but Nintendo have clearly forgotten about the Galaxy series because there's nothing from Galaxy in it. The only disappointment.
Budget.
Well,
thank goodness the Queen wasn't around to see that, honestly.
Yeah.
She'd be fuming.
Anyone else think she'd recognise him? Would she?
I reckon so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because didn't the two little princes, didn't they get like Game Boys and stuff? I think there was a story that C-Rex bought them Game Boys when Diana died.
C-Rex. So it took me a while then.
Yeah, C-Rex. Man with big ass.
Dale's, you going along with that?
You know what? I reckon you initially think that she hasn't got a clue because of her age and that, but she's definitely had a sly game of Mario Kart while Philip's been doing a racism somewhere.
Proper blue shell merchant here, I bet you. Telling you.
Undoubtedly.
Here's a follow-up question. Would you watch the Coronation coming up if they replaced Zadok the priest with the Super Mario team as they're doing the Coronation? I feel like I'd have to watch.
I think I would, yeah.
What if it was like the castle theme from Mario 64?
There's so many ways they could make it more interesting, but they're just not got it.
I think we should do this. I think we should get the recording of it and then put Mario sound effects over it. I reckon that'll get like 1 million views on Twitter. Easy.
That would be good, like the alternative commentary people used to do.
Like when they put the hat on him, it goes like.
Except when Mario like enlarges when Charles goes through, like the sausage fingers just get fucking bigger.
Every time someone mentions the Queen, you do the little tune that happens when you die. Bloom, 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 bloom.
Every time the Archbishop of Canterbury comes up on screen, it goes.
I feel like there's got to be a load of ways that you can make the coronation just more interesting, like you were saying, Les. I think the crown should have to be like hoopla on. You're not the king until you land the crown.
One more go. Go on, just one more.
That'd be a fair test. That to be. I'd like to see that.
You'd have to shoot it, wouldn't you? It looks heavy.
Yeah.
His head can take it. I wouldn't be worried about that.
Would he pick it up with those sausage fingers, though? He doesn't have to. He's got people to do it for him, hasn't he? That's the whole thing. Foxy has asked, fresh from his 6th watching of Howard's Way. That is in reference to him wanting the Reds to win last week. He said that was the only way to purge his soul if he watched Howard Way. Set as a pet. Oh, yeah. So his soul is reborn and he fully wants Forest to stuff the Reds. What's the biggest lie you've ever told and why? I'll take volunteers for this one.
I need some thinking time, you know.
That was a good segue. I'll give you a lie, though. This was years ago as a teenager, and it had been snowing pretty heavily. And I'd gone out the door to go to school, and I just saw a load of snow on the car. And I thought, I'm just going to make a big snowball and chuck it at the window. This would be funny. 13-year-old head going, this would be dead funny. So I made a snowball, threw it at our front window, crack. Turned out there was a rock, there was a stone in that snowball. I had no idea. Caused a huge crack in the window. Like Eddie rational, responsible, mature young man. I absolutely legged it. I went miles, never run so fast. Came home later on and went, oh, have you seen what's happened to the window? What? Oh, that's terrible. To this day, she has no idea it was me. So I doubt she'll be watching Mailbag, but if she does, sorry. Sorry about that.
It is a weird one, isn't it? When you don't actually know how much your parents know about stuff you've got up to as a kid.
Mm.
Yeah. And you really want to have the conversation ever. Like this, like I obviously go out and have a bevy with my dad now, but I still think like at the times when I came home pissed and he doesn't know that I was pissed. I'm sure he must have done, but you just don't know and you don't want to broach that conversation.
Mm.
Anyone got any massive whoppers they told?
I think the only lie I can think of right now is that Everton are going to be absolutely fine. We will be out of this relegation battle after tomorrow. But I think
the lie you keep telling yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest lie I keep telling myself. The only lie, just because Ed mentioned about snow before. I remember when I was working in Next before I became a teacher, and I think there was like a sale on, and sales were big. You could never take time off, and it'd been snowing like really bad just after Christmas, and I think this was like the January sales, and I think the boss rang and asked if I could do a particular shift, and I just said I can't leave the house. Like I was snowed in, like not literally, but I just said it's impossible for me to get to work today because there's just snow all over the roads. And I got out to like working that shift. I think that's like the biggest lie I can think of right now. I'm sure there'll be plenty of more, but that's the only one that comes to mind.
That's just like an off the cuff sickie. That's just like quick thinking, no?
Yeah, that's the only one that comes to mind anyway.
Matt?
I don't really tell big lies. I'm just trying to think of one. Mine are all like sort of cheeky, sort of, japes lies. Like no one really gets hurt. I think keeping on the theme of work, I think the biggest one wasn't so much a lie, it was more of a blag. I organised some catch-up meetings with a client in Bristol because I wanted to go see my mate. So I managed to get like free train, hotel, evening meal, like all the lot, just so I could sit in the room with them for about an hour talking bollocks. And I charge it to them.
Fair enough.
That's maybe why certain power stations delayed and over budget, possibly.
Your fault. Yeah, I think I've told this one before. I told a big lie not a big lie, a very unconvincing lie, and I think it was just like the sheer power of me being a pain in the arse that got me in to get into a Strokes gig in Leeds. Said I was working for NME and I was reviewing the gig. And the bouncer on the door was not having a bar of it. He was like, I don't know, mate. I was like, I'll phone the editor. Do you want me to phone the editor? I've got to get into this gig to review it. I'd gone to Leeds without a ticket to go and see them. So I just thought I've got to get in somehow. And eventually he let me in just for the start of the gig. So I think it was just the fact that I was constantly on him and just hanging around the end, just going, can I come in yet? He eventually let me in. It was a shit lie, but it worked. So, not bad.
Worth it.
I did the same for Arctic Monkeys at the O2 upstairs when he played the NME tour, but I did actually have to write a review for the Echo for that. So it all worked out nice. Oh, Stephen has asked, you have to run a 3-legged race with one of the current members of the Everton squad. Who'd you pick? Matt?
Onana. Because he's the only one who's similar in height to me.
I was thinking you should pick Neil Maupay.
No. Imagine I'd be dragging him behind me like a dead weight.
Could that be to be fair?
Go with the Kopites or Onana just because of the strides. That's any taller than that.
Although I haven't seen the Corey run. I'm not sure I'd want to be strapped to him.
See, I'd go with Mina again for the strides, but he'd probably pull his fucking hamstring like 2 strides in. So
he just collapse to the floor and just take you with him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be pretty, that would it?
Actually, I'm going to change mine to Andy Lonergan because we just sack off the race and go to the pub.
He does look like a stand-up guy, doesn't he?
All right for a red.
Yeah.
You're all right, you.
Ed, who are you going with?
And I'm struggling with this one. I might say Michael Keane. He's like a cart horse, isn't he? So you tie yourself up to him, you say, right, straight line, off you go, and he'll just plough. So I feel like as long as we're not against any real athletes, we're in with a decent chance.
Slow and steady wins the race. Just
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's slow and I'm steady, and he will win the race.
I think Godfrey or Iwobi would be too obvious to be a problem there somewhere.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a player small enough if I could strap myself to, so it's probably got to be Neil Mopey for me. Fuck's sake. This is
Garner?
probably just one for me and Ed. So Joe's asked, when you go abroad, do you tell people you're from Liverpool or avoid it because they'll ask about the shite? Ask him because he's a wool. Recently visited Porto. The tour guide told him to say he's from Manchester instead because Kopites have a bad reputation over there. They have a bad reputation everywhere, to be fair. But yeah, I don't. I just say Birkenhead and then they say, where's that? And then I say it's by Liverpool. Yeah.
I was in Lisbon a couple of years ago for my mate's stag do, and we were getting a taxi into Lisbon, and I think the driver was fine. He seemed fine. He was like just making conversation. He was like, "Oh, where are you from?" Just had Liverpool, and immediately he's like, "Oh, Ian Rush," and I'm in the back of the taxi. Fuck off
Every fucking time, isn't it?
Yeah, all the time. So then I responded and went, no, mate, Everton. And to compound my misery, he goes, who? And he's got a fucking Benfica thing in the front of his car. And I'm thinking, mate, you beat us 5 years ago. You beat us 5-0. You beat us at Goodison. Don't do us like that. Come on. You know who we are. I just went to Andre Gomez. Barcelona. I thought, oh, fuck this. Let me out the Uber. Let me out. But not tolerating this. Let me out. Yeah, that's my only. When I seen that question, that story came to mind immediately.
Yeah, I was in Lisbon and a taxi driver did the same thing, but went for Liverpool first, but he knew Everton were. When we got to the hotel, I was all confused about the money. It was like pre-Euros days. I think I ended up tipping him about 25p because I was trying to work out in my head how much the notes were worth and stuff. And I thought, I think I actually said to him, this is all I've got. And it was only about like a £3 note or something. So I ended up giving him just something really shit or saying, I can't tip you. I'm sorry, I've just not got any change. And I had literally like a £3 note in my hand. But serves him right. Ed, what do you do? Do you ever have this problem?
It's actually a lot easier for me now because I think in the past I've lived in a lot of places, I've moved a lot of places, and when someone says, "Oh, where are you from?" I kind of go, "Well, do you mean where was I born? Where do I live? Where have I lived most of my life?" My wife hates it when I do that because she just says, "Just say a normal answer, you idiot." But I'm always like, "Well, I was originally from Germany, but I was here and here and here, and now I just go, yeah, Liverpool." And they go, "Oh, Liverpool, like, yeah, Beatles, etc." Got it, and that was fine. Got me through Mexico, no problem at all. Some people knew Everton as well, so it went okay. Mexicans, good bunch.
See, don't think it's any sort of coincidence that Liverpool doesn't have a bad reputation in Mexico and Liverpool have never played in Mexico.
Well, that's the point now. I'm worried about this expansion of the Club World Championship because the more countries they can expose themselves to, the fewer places we're going to have to go.
Expose themselves.
Hell yeah.
Fountains.
We're all going to be up in the down in the Antarctic at some point, just chilling out with penguins, and even they'll be looking at us and going, "We're not quite that big."
Sitting on top of gates, participating in very questionable behaviour as well.
So that's just made me think actually about the sort of bad reputation. Let me take you back to the 80s, right? I've got a pen pal, right, from Italy. We wrote to each other a few times. So bear in mind, my address is Wirral, right? Write to each other a few times. I send him over some postcards of like Liverpool and stuff like that, like the waterfront and that. He never writes back to me. This was around the time of Heysel. To this day, I'm convinced he jibbed me off because of that. I mean, it's not the worst thing, not the worst outcome of that whole incident, but obviously, I always thought it was a bit weird because it was just after it sent him. Now it was like I never heard from him again.
He deprived you of glory, Les. He deprived you of glory, and he deprived you of a budding, blossoming friendship.
Exactly, and
The bastards.
wonder why.
Imagine our friendship had grown, and he'd said, "Oh, you can come around any summer you like."
Exactly.
That could have been you set up for life.
Yeah, but no, he ruined everything. Matt, have you got any? What was the question? I got it forgotten now. Oh yeah, did you just say you're from Liverpool when you go abroad? If anyone asks, just out of interest. Yeah, fair enough.
Basically, yeah. Because my accent's quite soft, you don't usually pick it up straight away, especially if it is like proper foreign. But yeah, I've never really had any. It's always the normal chat, isn't it? Just Beatles, blah blah. Sometimes you ask footballers, go no Everton, and they go, "Oh right, okay." Most people on the continent have heard of Everton.
Yeah,
but I've never heard any bad reputation stuff. And when it comes to Mexico, I think the reason we haven't got a bad reputation over there is because Merseyside is twinned with Sinaloa. So
okay.
And it's not really. But
No,
it was a drugs joke, Les.
sorry. Oh, it's been a long week. Dan has got some culinary questions. What's your favourite filling for a toasty? His is cheese / Marmite and a sprinkle of devil's basil.
What?
Well, yeah,
Devil's basil or cannabis?
I think so.
Cheese and
On a
Marmite.
toasty?
There's a reference I got.
Oh,
Devil's basil.
Yeah. Anyone ever not a space toasty?
I mean, that's a disgrace, just top to bottom. I think the Marmite was bad enough.
I'm gonna need a minute, you know. That's
Oh, it's technically not a toasty; it's a toast butty because you don't toast it as one. But there's nothing like sliced banana and peanut butter on toast.
All right,
Between two
Elvis.
slices.
Yeah.
Absolute winner.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it is.
I don't know.
I've actually grown up now as well, and I have crunchy peanut butter. I was always smooth peanut butter like a child because I couldn't
It's gotta
spell
be smooth.
stuff. But yeah,
Whenever
wanna
I
get
go to
easy.
Costco, it's always buy like a big massive jar of Skippy, and I've gone with extra crunchy this time as well. I
it's extra crunchy.
extra crunchy.
Oh, get in
It's incredible.
all over that. Ed, you got any thoughts on this?
I mean,
You're taking it worse than Paul, to be honest.
I'm disgusted and horrified at what's come so far. I'm definitely a savoury fella, toasty wise, and I think I prefer. Gonna get all posh here. My favourite is pesto, speck, mozzarella, and then once you've finished it, open the toasty up, put some rocket in, and that's an incredible Italian style toasty.
I like the hand gesture for Italian.
You have to do the hand gesture, otherwise it doesn't taste right.
Oh,
And how you sprinkle on your devil's basil as well.
devil's basil. Oh my god. Do you know what? When it comes to toasties, I'm a man of very simple pleasures. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong with a cheese and ham toasty, can you? You really can't.
No,
The best toasty I've had. No, it says a lot. It's the best toasty I've had. You can't remember where it's from, but I vividly remember having a chicken and bacon toasty with like barbecue sauce on it, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was
A
exceptional.
Hunter's toasty.
A Hunter's
Isn't it?
toasty.
very nice.
Yeah, Hunter's toasty. Well, it was really good though, to be fair. Really. 9.5 out of 10. Would recommend.
I think
Yeah.
barbecue sauce is quite the twist, isn't it, there, on a toasty?
Yeah.
No, it works. Barbecue sauce works beautifully on a toasty. I just thought of a bad toasty. So I had a toasty maker in uni, which made me extremely popular with some of my housemates. One of my housemates loved to do an entire full English in a toasty, in the toasty maker. He would load it on the bacon, the sausage, the egg, the tomato, the black pudding, squish it down.
I assume we cook it all
cram
first.
it- Yeah, he cooked them. He cooked them first. Yeah, but he'd cram it shut, and you could just see as it was bubbling, just ooze, just coming out of this toasty maker, to the point where you'd have to surround it. It was pretty much an entire roll of tissue paper, and then what came out was this big steaming heap of carbs and goo, and he'd just pour HP over the top of it and just eat it. like a beast. It was
Molten
horrendous.
block of fry up.
Yeah.
Oh,
It smells incredible, to be fair to him. But no, I need to check that he's still alive. I haven't
Yeah.
talked to him in a
Most
while.
Sheffield thing I've ever heard.
He was from London as well. Tell you, he bought in. He really bought
One in
into
Rome.
Sheffield Alive.
To come away from Toasties for a minute though, was in Ireland recently. My best mate got married, and over there I was actively encouraged to try a chicken roll. Now in my head, chicken roll is like the sliced chicken you buy from Asda.
Yeah.
But it was exceptional, and it truly is like something you cannot get anywhere in England, seemingly, like even Subway. So chicken roll, just baguette, brown bread, white bread, whatever you want. You've got 3 choices of chicken, either sun-fried, spicy, or normal. Throw butter and mayo on it. And you've got like your onions and like your usual like stuff from Subway you'd throw on, but they make it fresh there and then, and the chicken's absolutely brilliant. That and a drink, and I think it's a packet of crisps, €5.
Potatoes.
Absolutely exceptional. Irish have got their head screwed on, like they know what they're doing. Decent, very nice pints of Guinness, but the chicken rolls, there's a lot to be said for them.
That leads me on to a question from Laura, who's been to Ireland, if you didn't know. Why does Guinness taste better in God's country?
Doesn't.
Doesn't?
I had this conversation with Matt and Flusco Senior outside the Denby after the game against Fulham the other week. We had a brief conversation about it. I think for me, I think they do take better care of making the pints over there. I've got to say, like they put a lot of effort into it. The domage on the pints of Guinness when we were over there in Killarney was absolutely unreal, and I was just drinking them like lemonade. Whereas I think not all places in Liverpool, you can get a decent pint of Guinness in Liverpool in most places, but I think it in some bars and some pubs, it's just seemingly like they've got a can of Guinness and just lashed it in like a plastic cup and go, there you go. But what does it taste better? Not necessarily, but I think it's a smoother, better drink.
You might just keep the good stuff for themselves, which you would. Why not? The weirdest Guinness is the Guinness in a bottle, which is just like fizzy port.
Oh no, it's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
What the hell's that about? That's such a weird drink, that.
Toilet water.
There is history behind this. So way back when, there used to be like 2 types of Guinness. There was like Irish Guinness, and then there was the stuff that was over here. But since everything's become modern and globalized and that, it's all standardized now. So it's all the same. As long as they keep the lines properly, like they do in, say, the Denby or the Lion, like good pubs, which really look after the Guinness, it tastes exactly the same. And also that thing about pouring it 3/4 and then standing it and then pouring the rest. I've heard it firsthand from a Guinness rep. That is 100% marketing. Since they moved to nitrogen in the lines, they don't need to do that no more. You can pour a pint of Guinness bottom to top straight from the tap and it'll be exactly the same. It's just marketing. But everyone loves it. So if people stop doing it, they kick off in the pub. So they've got to keep doing it. They've got to.
There you go, then, Laura. Stop drinking in shit pubs, I think is the answer there.
The Lion do a really good pint of Guinness as well. Round the corner from the Denby, the Lion do a cracking pint of Guinness.
I did name check them as well.
Yeah. Mike's asked, which other sporting teams do you watch / support because they're a bit like Everton?
Oh, I'll take this one because
Go on,
all right. So I've got 2 football teams, right? So obviously there's Everton and my technically hometown team, which is Borussia Mönchengladbach. So I was born in February 1995. Everton's last trophy, if you exclude the Vinnie Samways Cup, was May 1995. Borussia Mönchengladbach's last trophy was the Pokal, the German Cup, June 1995. Almost an exact month of difference between the two. Neither of them have won a bean ever since. So in football terms, I've nailed it.
You are the curse.
Yeah, I probably am. Yeah. So as soon as I'm gone, those two will be absolutely fine. But I actually picked my baseball team based on Everton. So I went to a mate of mine who's a huge baseball fan and said, I really want to pick a team that is like Everton. And most people would just sort of go, that lot, they're like Everton. He created the most incredible spreadsheet I've ever seen in my entire life, which graphed performance, wage bills, like culture as well. He tried, obviously, that's qualitative data, so he just threw it in. But he directly cross-referenced Everton against every MLB franchise and landed me with the Chicago White Sox, who haven't won a bean since 2005. So I'm just fully on board for all the fume, and I'm delighted to say they've started the season terribly.
Great stuff.
So I'm really on board with all the misery. Maybe I like the misery.
I do think though, right, when you got that sort of like, I don't know, outlook on a sport team, like you're an Evertonian, basically supporting like a really good, like, I don't know, a Juventus or a Real Madrid just doesn't sit right. So remember ages ago when me and the kids were like reeling off our sort of like teams from each country, some of it was based on places we've been. So when we went over to Spain, it was Espanyol. Fuck Barcelona. We went for Espanyol. Germany, it was Mainz because we went to Mainz to watch Everton. But like every country we went through, it was just like a shit team. Like Italy, Fiorentina. Not a decent team, like, but hardly glory hunters. So I don't know if it's just like a sort of predilection you've got to just pick average to shit teams.
Fiorentina are very Moyes era Everton.
Yeah.
I think we just recognise that it does mean a little bit more. And I don't mean that in the marketing sense, like some certain things like to say. But I just mean that when you actually feel like you can suffer along with a team and really connect to them, then all the successes just mean that little bit more. And it's not just a case of going, oh yeah, I really like Real Madrid. Oh look, they've won a bunch more trophies. Woohoo! It's a case of, like, let's say if Fiorentina go and win the old Farmers League, probably be made up for them. And you wouldn't do that for just any old acquaintance team. And I hope they do, and I hope they batter West Ham and David Moyes gets flashbacks.
I try to like I'm trying to think of other sport to follow, and I'm struggling really. Like, watch a lot of boxing and UFC, and there might be like a particular fighter that's like had a hard luck story, and I think, oh, Everton that. But it's mainly football teams I relate to. Like, I'm a Celtic follower, just through family. St. Pauli in Germany I've got a soft spot for just because of their traditions and their heritage and what they stand for as a club. I'd say probably the team I most relate Everton to is probably, and I think Everton are a bigger club, but just because of the sheer pain that the fans have gone through, and you've seen it on the documentary, I'd say Sunderland. There's just so many like similarities between the fans, like a working class club, gone through all kinds of shit in the past few years, and they're a very loyal fan base.
Dickhead neighbours as well.
Yeah, it's just there's just so many similarities between us and them. And yeah, we can't stand Newcastle either. Both despise them.
I reckon, right? I think we look at Sunderland and we're all terrified that could easily be us. This is where we're headed. Definitely, it is like a cautionary tale. Like, there's been clubs like Leeds and Sheffield that have done it, but Sunderland, as you said, they're a massive club, and it seems like that's definitely what we'll do. Just buckle up, lads. Here we go. It's got to be some ride. Matt, you got any other clubs?
I was going to say, I think Sunderland fans would take exception to us comparing ourselves to them. Like, considering we're both in the same league system and everything, they'd be like, "Are you messing? Like, you think your plight is in any way comparable to ours?" But you are right. Like, it is possibly just 10 years behind. In terms of other sports, like, it's not been conscious. It's just happened that way. I've picked teams in other sports that have like basically been pretty good. So when I was in university, I started watching ice hockey late at night when I was revising, and I picked the Boston Bruins just because, like, northeastern American cities are very Liverpool-like.
Yeah.
So picked the Boston Bruins, and then the first year I was watching them, they won the Stanley Cup. I was like, fucking hell, this is great. And then this season, they've just broken the record for the most wins in a regular season. Like, they're completely unstoppable. And they still got like half a dozen of the same players from like 10 years ago. It's amazing. They're all like 38 and just doing bits. And the other one I followed is the Philadelphia Eagles. And that one was picked for me by my brother's kids, based mainly on Always Sunny. Like, they listened to me and my brother talking about it, and then saw a T-shirt in Tesco which had Philadelphia Eagles. Like, oh look, Philadelphia, get everyone come off. So I got stuck with them, and then it's been a number of years now. And then last season they got to the Super Bowl, so it's turned out quite well for me. I don't have to endure misery on many fronts. It's quite nice.
Bizarro Everton, basically.
Yeah. Well, if you want an NFL team for Everton, it's the Chicago Bears. Like,
Yes, it
all the
is.
way. They've got the oldest stadium in the league. They haven't reached the playoffs since the mid-2000s. They haven't won the Super Bowl since the mid-1980s. They are Everton down to a T.
Christ, they are.
Guess who my NFL team is? Oh yeah, it's hard. It's so hard.
What a life. Right, quick one just before we break. So now, basically, because we're on the cheapo version of Zoom, I do a break for the YouTube thing and put an advert in there. Why not? So, quick one from Laura. Would you ever order carrot sticks from Mackey's today from me?
Absolutely
No.
not. What's the point?
Kyle is a deviant.
Kyle orders carrot sticks.
Last night he
did
ordered.
this.
Yeah, last night he ordered carrot sticks from Mackey's at about 12:30 at night instead of chips.
And
Okay.
how long did it take the police to get there? You know,
I don't think they
What?
fished them at the liver yet.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I expect so much better from Kyle, from our goalkeeper.
Do you know what? The fact that it was 12:30 in the morning makes it even worse, because
Yeah.
that's obviously pissed up junk food time. If it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I might consider it, because I'm still in that bit where I've not got into like eating shit phase of the day. The morning I'm dead healthy, and then as the day progresses, I get worse and worse and worse. So I might still be in that zone there. But 12:30 at night, that's a disgrace. That.
If I'm gonna give Kyle some credit, I would argue.
Don't.
I'm really trying to remain impartial because I like Kyle. I've got a lot of time for Kyle. 12:30 in McDonald's and he's ordering carrot sticks. At least he's thinking about his diet and his calorie intake. That's fair game. That's the only defense I can give him. Other than that, it's an absolute shocker.
It is.
Come on, lad, what are you doing?
And on that bombshell, we will end this half of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll get an advert in a minute, probably for the Anfield wrap or something like that. If you're listening on the podcast, you probably won't. Just bear in mind, the advert that you got then is based on your previous search history. So if you got an advert for dick pills, it's not on us. Anyway, moving on to a question from Warren, which is quite related to that, I suppose, or it could be. It depends on how your mind's working. Warren says, "What's a thrill / enjoyment you get from something small or mini?" Warren's is that he loves clicking his joints and hearing that cracking sound.
oh yeah, I like doing that with
Are you a
fingers as
clicker?
well. I'm a clicker. It's
Yeah,
very satisfying. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'd say
fair
a
enough.
little neck click when you're playing football. You feel it very satisfying. Like, yeah, I can get on board with that. Well, I'm on.
Especially when you're trying to intimidate the sort of small fullback next to you. Cricking it.
Absolutely.
Matt, you got anything?
Mine was just before the show began, which was the sound of a cork coming out of a wine bottle. It was a very satisfying. It was one of them, like, sort of fold down arms one,
Yeah,
but it wasn't quite out, so I gave it a good tug and hit a proper
you
But
do
yeah.
get the proper pop, don't you then?
lovely.
Yeah, that is a very Friday evening sound, that, isn't it?
You also get it from good rum as well.
See, again, I haven't got onto rum yet. This is the year. This is the summer of rum for me.
Yeah. I'd say the first sip of a pint as well. That's what you get it. Especially on a summer's day, the first sip of a pint when you've just finished work.
It is the best, isn't it?
Pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolute belter. Yeah, it's just coming into beer garden season now as well.
It is. Not today, like, but
Just lovely. No, that's all right. It's not too bad. Little mailbag weather reports. What's the weather like by you? It's sort of a little bit cloudy, quite clear. It's all right.
Swing bowling weather, that.
Swing ball weather.
Yeah.
Very overcast. Use
Okay.
FIFA terminology.
Oh, well, depending on what way the wind's blowing, it might clear up soon, or we might get overcast. See, this is what people listen to Mailbag for.
Yeah, so I'm already shopping around for my Satrial's table for outside the Denby.
Oh God, this is great news.
There with like a.
Are we all getting a tinfoil then?
Absolutely. Get a members only jacket as well. Can't wait.
Yeah, I might turn up in a vest. Another one from Dan to freak everyone out. Oh, Ed, have you got any? Oh, yours with the clicker money. Dan, another culinary delight. Bailey's on cornflakes. When can he start this as a daily thing? So that was Bailey's on cornflakes. Said it a bit weird.
No,
never.
As soon as you've given up on life, I suppose you can start doing it daily. But otherwise, try and hang in with reality, mate. It's not too late. That's
just ask for help. What's wrong with people today?
It sounds like Dan was having quite the night last night when he asked these questions.
Devil's Basil Toasties and Bailey's on cornflakes.
I mean, that's clearly what kicked it off, isn't it? Got a few from Maggie. Here we go.
Yeah.
So,
Maggie.
Maggie's words. Maggie said, Big Daddy Vladdy, Christ, has exactly one nuke left. Right? Your choice is Anfield to put an end to the red shite after their years of forcing the world to put up with them, or Goodison to finally put us out of our misery. Probably instead of a nuke, we should probably use some sort of other type of missile.
Yeah, nuke's probably taking them both out, isn't it?
Yeah, you get the gist though. You can missile one of them.
Drone strike.
What's that?
A drone strike instead.
You can drone strike one of them. What one you going for?
I'm probably going to go with Anfield just because there's one of those Joe, I can't even get any words out today. Do you want the thing with people's names on outside the Dixie Dean statue?
Plaques.
Plaques, that's it. Thank you.
Stones. Plaques and stones.
Bricks.
Catherine and her family have a plaque outside the Dixie Dean statue. So from that perspective, probably wouldn't blow Goodison up because my life wouldn't be worth living and my wife wouldn't be happy. Yeah, Anfield, just why not? Don't have to go there again.
Yeah, for me as well, if you blew Goodison up to Chongqing, could be collateral in that. And I wouldn't want that for them. So.
True.
Matt?
Probably Goodison because it would save on demolition costs.
Or
fair.
If you blow up the tin mine and then they've got to move into Goodison.
That'd be cool. Well, never my pitch.
No, that would be horrible, actually, wouldn't it?
They can go to Prenton Park
because they're getting our old ground again, but I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
No,
they can go to Prenton Park.
Build your own ground.
Whoa. Forget the Prenton Park house. Don't want them all over here. Look at that.
To be fair, wouldn't it be hilarious though after decades of them calling it Woodison and all that? They have to live in it. That'd be pretty sweet.
It would. Yeah. It would be like the smug pig with the brick house suddenly having to move into his brother's, wouldn't it? And it would serve him right.
To be fair, my seat's already fallen apart already. Like the nail came out of the bleeding seat the other day. I did take a picture. I was gonna put it up on Twitter, joking around, but it was sheer compo face. I'll try and find a picture before we move on, and I'll hold this towards the camera for our YouTube viewers.
The thing is, that's like kind of doing the job for you. Saves you unscrewing it. Come the final day at Goodison, it's probably going to be on its way anyway. So
yeah. Here we go.
See, just another reason to watch this on YouTube.
This was the Spurs game.
Angry people in local newspapers.
And the nail was just out of the seat before I'd even sat down.
Can you send me that and I'll use it as the picture for the thing?
Nail, absolutely.
That's a belt of that. That is a good compo face. You defo front page echo with that.
Big headline for final nail.
Definitely.
Cracking metaphor there.
Another open letter to the board coming in.
I'll tell you what, if I see one more inspirational video, I think it'll just put me head in the oven. Oh,
Yeah, it's.
um,
I've had
yeah.
enough of them now.
Maggie, how long are you going to let Keith? I'll just move on from that. How long are you going to let Keith's shite bag out of his Iwobi tattoo? She has a great point here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if Iwobi goes, he's kind of got it out there.
God forbid.
He doesn't play for us anymore.
God forbid.
So I think that's probably
What was the promise again? I am aware of the story.
If he stayed up,
yeah,
you
can stayed up, you get the Iwobi
tattoo. And it was, didn't he have one planned for like the outline of him sort of standing there with his arms folded, goal celebration one, something like that, wasn't it?
That one,
something like that. Yeah. So
rings a bell.
I think this is one to pick up on Thursday, ironically around the Newcastle game.
Hopefully, there's another stoppage.
Doesn't it, really?
It does.
Same results, hopefully.
It's full circle, yeah.
When you consider as well that the current weather is allowing for even more day drinking, I think all the parts fall into place here, aren't they?
I think it is, yeah. It's all coming up Millhouse. New feature request. Matt, I won't put you on the spot. Well, I will, but I won't. But Matt Lusk, 1 minute political soapbox of the week.
Oh, God. Take your pick.
It's a great feature.
Get on board with that, yeah.
If you want to riff on it now, you can. If not, we'll move on.
Following on from the chat about Newcastle. So right now in London, and for the next few days, there's a great big gathering of environmental protesters, everyone from Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, all the way through to Keep Britain Tidy, who've been going for like 50 years or whatever. And they're all converging on places like Tufton Street and Whitehall, causing an absolute ruckus, but they're not doing the normal disruptive things. And in terms of disruptive things, the amount of cry-arsing and whinging about that thing at the snooker the other day, honest to God, you would have thought it was the Brighton bombing. Like some of the commentary afterwards, like John Virgo saying, it's the most disgraceful thing I've seen in 17 years covering snooker at the Crucible. It's like a fella jumped up on the table and threw a bag of orange powder. It wasn't even paint. They chose powder specifically so it could be cleaned up dead quick. And there was a fella there with a Hoover just going, and they're saying, oh, they're going to have to, completely redo all the felt, or what they call the bays. They're going to have to redo all the bays and blah. It's like, you've got about 50 tables in the back there. Just swap it out. Like, in terms of disruptive protests, it was by far one of the most mild ones you've ever seen. And as someone on Twitter pointed out, the amount of times people, and I'm not even talking about, hardcore Maoists like us, I'm talking just general people in the street saying, why can't we be more like the French? Why can't we kick off when things are going against us? This is why. Because one fella jumped on a snooker table, threw some orange powder, and everyone has him down as the next fucking Jerry Adams or whatever. It's just, it's absolutely...
He wouldn't use orange powder.
No, you wouldn't.
No. Very true. Very true. But yeah, it's just, get over it. Just get over it. Stop being a baby.
I think a lot of growing up needs to be done, and not by the protester.
Yeah.
Baby.
I mean, Matt, that was a great way to kick off this new feature. Absolutely sensational and completely right as well. I see they've also come out and now the sort of attack line is that he's some sort of middle class wanker. Like, aren't we all?
I mean, have you seen the makeup of the Crucible crowd? Have you seen the price of the tickets? It's not your lad from the local Rileys. And also, people said, why target the snooker, blah, blah. It's like, one, it's a televised event. Two, it's sponsored by Kazoo, a company that literally sells motor cars. So,
there you go. The only thing I've got an issue with is that apparently his name was Edred. Edred, Edred, E-D-R-E-D.
I was about to get very offended there.
Oh no, Edward, fine. Eddie, Edward, fine. Edred.
As in Ed the Red.
I'll take it all back.
Basically,
all back. Throw away the key. Throw away the key.
Hey, he's no McKechnie.
He's no Louis.
No, he's not. I did see your tweet, Matt, replying to someone saying, let them try that at the football.
Yeah. It did. And if he ever came back to Goodison Park, he'd be hoisted aloft like a dog.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, you'll never catch any lads going into the football with bags of powder unheard of.
It wouldn't happen, would it?
That lad will never have to buy a pint in the city of Liverpool ever again.
Never. Okay. Maggie's also asked, how should we deal with people who have blue ticks on Twitter?
Block them relentlessly.
Yeah, fair enough.
So what is it? You've got to pay £8 or something to have
£8 a
it.
month. Yeah,
It's
do you
£8
know
for
what?
individuals, but for businesses, it's like thousands.
Yeah, it's a massive amount.
I'm not gonna lie, I was quite aggrieved when the Blue Room's blue tick disappeared.
Yeah, but it just shows that
It's
anyone
nice
who's
to
still
have.
got one is a minge bag. So simple as that. We could just relentlessly mock them. We could just torture them and hound them to an assisted suicide.
Yeah.
I think over time people will get used to them, but it's a bit strange. Like when someone like, I don't know, in footballer tweets. I think I've seen like a Jack Grealish tweet with Elton John the other day, and I thought that's a jog account because there's no tick, and then I realised I went, oh yeah, you've all been taken off.
There's no way of knowing, is there though? That's the thing, no.
Yeah. It's
So
an inconvenience.
search function. If you search filter : verified, it still shows them because they haven't updated the API or whatever the nerds call it. So that still works. Also, you can tell by the number of followers usually.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be clever with his ticks, Elon Musk, but doesn't know how to fly a fucking rocket, does he?
The big fucking.
Did you see Alan Sugar? Alan Sugar was moaning about it. He actually sent a tweet to Elon Musk saying, and he put the little dot in front of it as well, like he used to have to in like 2008. So it didn't show up as a reply. And he was like, why have you taken away my blue tick? I know you're upset about the rocket, but come on. Don't take it out on me.
Just the thought that he watched that rocket blow up and he went, oh, Sugar's getting it now.
I did actually. So there was something that was sort of pushed into the what's it called?
Just while Les looks, just to say, as a scientist, that rocket launch was a success. Just getting off the ground was the barrier for success. So that's why they all cheered when it exploded. And Elon Musk has absolutely zero input into SpaceX, other than being the owner. They actually have an executive team who was set up to keep him busy and keep him away from the real stuff because he's such a crank.
I had visions of him like Roman Roy just watching on a phone, like.
I think it's important to have editorial balance, and from a shit posting perspective, we should absolutely just laugh at him because the thing blew up.
Oh yeah, I actually, so on the notifications on the Blue Room Twitter, it said somebody who follows you has followed Elon Musk, which is a bit mad. But then it had a little thing underneath with like a little sort of outline of a person and a star saying, subscribe to Elon Musk and get access to their exclusive content. He's actually begging for followers now. Interesting thing as well is it said their exclusive content. I thought he would have been hot on his pronouns. Apparently not.
You'll be annoyed about that.
What's that?
You'll be annoyed about that.
Oh, I hope so. And on the blue tick thing as well, I tell you who the most relieved fella on Twitter will be: Paul Joyce, because he never got one.
He didn't, did he?
He 290,000 followers or something stupid.
Yeah.
No tick.
And he was always impersonated, so it goes to show it did serve a purpose.
Yeah. Always found it really funny that he never got his tick.
Trevor Azzel should have had.
What's that?
Trevor Azzel should have had one.
Definitely should.
Any
of the Azzel family should have had one. I actually bumped into him when he was in the Park End at the Fulham game. He was sat like about 4 seats down from me.
I thought he would have been in the press box.
Which was a lovely surprise. No. Apparently he got thrown some Park End tickets.
He's a man of the people, isn't he?
He is. Laura's asked if you could go back to one place you visited before, where would you go and why?
Ooh.
Got a few answers for that, to be fair. Obvious one.
Keep doing it.
Obvious one would be Cancun. Went there for my honeymoon. Joe, I'd love to go back to Killarney. Like, was only there a week or so ago. Absolutely loved it. Cracking people. Service was absolutely brilliant. Very polite and just dead laid back. Getting through airport security as well. Manchester, you have to drink all your liquids before you go through. Killarney, Kerry Airport, just take it through. Take it through. You're fine. Great people, great time.
I had the same thing in Dublin. I'd forgotten to put. I took my darts with me because I take them everywhere, and I'd forgotten to put them in my suitcase. They were just my hand luggage. And obviously they went off, and the fella got them out. Oh yeah, oh god, my darts. And he looked at them for a while, and he went, "You're fine, man. Off you go." Put them back in my bag. But the Irish, great bunch.
Cracking bunch of lads. See, that's all we need at airport security. We're not asking for much.
Yeah.
Matt, anywhere?
Probably Reggio Emilia. So where we had the Atalanta away game, it's the one and only European away I've done. And I went through Bologna, spent the whole day there, and then got the train up. But obviously, Reggio itself was just like, got there, dumped all my stuff, went out, found some blues straight away, got pissed, woke up dead hungover, got the first scran I could find, went to the match, went back. So I'd like to actually go there and see what it's about, because it was a lovely little sleepy town. It was so nice. And I can't imagine like the locals with all these nutters descending on them, because at the time, like Sassuolo were not getting anywhere near European competition. So there was absolutely no chance that they were going to get, external visitors en masse like that. But fair to them, like they really put us up well. But it's just a lovely, weird little medieval town. Like I just booked the first place I could find, the cheapest place I could find, and it turned out to be like a proper sort of, do you know like the old school apartments that you used to get when you went abroad, where it's got a little kitchenette and everything like that. It's all self-contained, and they had these big, massive wooden shutters that opened out like fucking Evita onto the town square. It was just, and there's behind like a big, massive medieval door to actually get in. You had to go around the corner to some little hut to collect your key. It was just magical. I'd love to go back there.
I think
if you ever get back into Europe, you never know.
No, not even Europe. Just go. I might just get a flight to Bologna or whatever and head back there. Just retrace my steps.
I think my answer is actually pretty similar to yours, but the flip side, in that I really want one day Everton to recover and to go there in Europe, is Freiburg. And I went once just for like a night as a sort of stopover thing. Beautiful, beautiful place. Absolutely lovely, sort of medieval, like huge, great schloss, big castle. It's right on the doorstep of the Black Forest. Stunning place. Beer was incredible. Food is incredible. So they're doing quite well now, Freiburg, in the Bundesliga. So if Everton, by some miracle, recover and at some point get into the Farmers or whatever, that's probably the one team I'd really want them to draw. That'd be one beautiful away day.
All I want is the Farmers. I just want the Farmers League. I don't want your Champions League. I don't want trips to PSG.
No.
I want trips to Freiburg. Can
I just say then, for the YouTube viewers, I was stifling a sneeze. I was not sniffing something off my knuckle. It never came though.
Inspector Dales is on the case there.
I just noticed that the camera sort of switched to me as Ed was talking because I breathed in.
Honourable mention to Lazize as well, by the way, places that you've been that you'd like to go back. Lazize, near Lake Garda, absolutely beautiful place.
Yeah, Lake Garda's amazing, isn't it?
Lake Garda's incredible.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 recommendation.
There we go. We've had the weather, we've had the travel, and I think that's it for this week's mailbag. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Ed. Thanks to everyone who sent questions in. We will catch you next time on Mailbag. Up them toffees.